I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how hard are we? Like her hard? Like the hard that we were shown? I know.
Okay. Sure.
This
I
raw.
just
Are you watching this? Are you watching? Yeah. Are you watching this? No. You need to get with it. Are you watching this? We on a TV shit. Are you watching this? You don't wanna miss. Are you watching this? Stop canceling our shit.
Welcome to the Are You Watching This podcast, the podcast where we talk about TV shows you should be watching. I am one of your hosts, Ellen E.
and
and
yeah.
oh yeah, Ellen E. And I understand wanting to. I didn't write anything down, but let me go with this. I understand wanting to resign after getting rejected. I get it. I understand not wanting to live, not just resigning, but not wanting to live after getting rejected.
And I am Chelsea F, and I smell some chicanery around here.
When we
Yeah.
get to that, I'm gonna ask you what the exact definition is. By the way.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay. Okay. So let's get into it. Do you have any pre-thoughts?
I liked this episode. There was a lot going on, so
Yes.
I like that we kind of are seeing our main characters again, not together, but still see them. So I'm very curious where we're going from here. So
Okay. Yeah, me too. It was a lot of different scenes of every character. So kind of pushing their storylines along for the big finale.
Yep.
All right. So with that being said, the opening scene, we see Helena swimming, doing laps in the pool. And then that scene transitions to Helena walking into a room where she meets her father. And this is the second time in the season that we are seeing him, right?
Yes, second or third at most.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, for someone who's talked about a lot, I expected to maybe see him a few more times this season, but it's okay. He's creepy looking anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm fine with not seeing him more.
I agree, yeah. So then her dad, he's James, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, James Egan states that it's a monumentous day, and then also states that he's going to watch her eat, which I thought was weird. Then we see Helena pour some tea, coffee. I think she's a tea girl, and I think Helly's a coffee girl.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And then she also slices an egg in sixths.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea what that meant. And I wanted to ask you if there was any, I don't know, symbolism behind it that you might have caught on to.
Not that I caught on to. I will say that now that you've asked me, in the first scene when she's swimming laps, they show the timer clock that's on the wall, right? So it's keeping time of her laps. And so I felt like that was indicating the time is coming to an end for something. And I'm kind of thinking Helena because she's the one that's swimming.
Yeah.
So then if you're talking about sixth, if you think about a clock, you can divide it easily into 6 parts. I mean, there's 12, but there's, I don't know. So then it's kind of, because then it also lays out in a circle.
Yeah, I get that.
Could be kind of a representation of a clock of time.
Yeah, I can see that. So then she eats the egg in a very particular way, and that's the only thing we see on her plate for what we're assuming is breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And James then says that he wishes she was eating the egg raw.
Well, is that what he meant? Because he said, "I wish you would take them raw." That was like, why would he say it that way? It was so weird.
It's lumen speak. It's that's how they say normal things that are normal in a non-normal way.
Yeah.
I had to assume it was eggs because whatever else I could assume that to be taken raw is I don't want to assume, especially coming from her father,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Then we get into a scene where Helly's in a
Can I
car. Yes.
can I ask you a couple, or can we talk about the scene just a little bit more?
Yes.
Okay. One question is, do you like hard-boiled eggs?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
how hard are we? Like her hard? Like the hard that we were shown? I know.
Sure.
This raw,
just
this
I
hard.
guess I
It's a
just
lot.
meant like boiled eggs.
Oh
We'll
yes,
say
I do
that.
like boiled hugs. Do
Okay.
you?
Yes, I'm just sometimes when I eat eggs, they can be too eggy
Yeah,
when I
I
start thinking about it,
understand.
and then I get like, oh, I don't want this. But
Gaggy.
as long as I'm not thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The other question is, did you think that that's what their house would look like?
No, no. It looks like a facility of some sort. It's very cold. I know there was definitely, I mean, that is, what's it called? Like the cinematography of it all was very purposeful uh, to symbolize like Helena not coming or being raised in a household filled with any warmth and love. If you compare it to to the episode where we had the Gemma episode, those scenes, that was full of like light and warmth, and their home looked lived in, and all of that. And we see this house, and yeah, I is it a house? you know?
Yeah, yeah, because I I agree 100% in that it was very cold, very sterile, and I think that part makes sense to me. The more modern and lack of it was a little too it was more plain than I thought it would look.
Yeah, for people with money, or what do you mean more?
Yeah, I think people with money,
Yeah.
and I kind of expected more their house to look more like, because the china she ate off of was like very ornate, old.
Yes.
It looked like it'd been in the family for a while, so I just felt like there'd be more of that in the
Yes.
house.
I agree with you.
But the vibe matches 100%.
Yeah. Definitely matches James at least.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go from the house to Helena. I don't know who is who. And we're gonna yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Helena in the car ride. And we get an outer shot of the house, the home. And then the final shot of the outer, like the last thing we see of that, like outshot is a UFO. I'm kidding, a water tower. Chelsea, do you think it was a water tower? Or do you
I
think it
mean,
was a
yes, it
UFO?
obviously was the water tower, but when somebody took that screenshot and put it on Twitter, I was like, but it does look like a UFO. And
I
I
agree.
already joked once that it's aliens.
Aliens. Aliens
That's
are involved.
yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
I think they could have made the water tower look more water towery and less UFO-y. I definitely think that was on. I don't know. It was too. It was on. I wouldn't say on purpose, but you know.
mhm. It felt like that scene in Men in Black. I don't remember where they are, but they go up to the top of those towers and they end up being UFOs, and
Yes.
then they like separate and
Yes.
they fly off.
Yeah.
It felt like that.
I agree with you.
So,
So what you're saying? If next episode we see James just like unzip himself his skin
yeah.
suit, you will not be shocked.
No, I would not be shocked. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, not at all.
All right, we'll come back to it next week. Then we get the opening credits, and after the credits, we are in a scene with Mr. Milchick and Eustace Huang, which this is the first time we find out her first name. Very, I don't know, not a Gen Z sort of name. And I feel like she would be a Gen Z girl. Oh, Gen A. I don't know.
I mean, even Mr. Milchek has a pretty modern name, Seth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you would think it would be a little bit more
Do you think,
modern.
speaking of that, then, do you think maybe her family is affiliated with Lumen?
They have to. I think that she is being raised similar to how Miss Cobell was being raised.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which we know
Her mom
her
wasn't
mom
for it. Mm.
was not for it, but the rest of her family seemed to be involved somehow. So,
Yeah, that's true. So Mr. Milchek is congratulating Miss Huang on ending her Wintertide Fellowship and says that she'll be moving from her parents' home to the Gunnell Egan Empathy Center, which, okay, whatever. Lumen's like the last place I feel like would teach you anything about empathy,
mm-hmm.
but all right. And it's uncovered that, well, we see that Miss Huang is shocked that she's kind of done with the fellowship early, earlier than she planned at least. And as a graduation kind of ritual, Mr. Milkshake, I'm gonna call him Milkshake because it rolls off the tongue easier, but I love him, so I mean no disrespect. Mr. Milkshake says that the handbook requires they mark this ending with a material sacrifice, and he places one of her games on the table and makes her smash it. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, were you familiar with this game? I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
don't see them anymore, but did you have one when you were younger?
Yeah, I feel like they were just things that were around. I don't even know where they came from, but
Yeah.
there would always be one at somebody's house somewhere.
Yeah. And then also second question, if someone was to tell you you got to smash, your favorite childhood game, what would it be? What would have
My
it been?
favorite childhood game.
Yeah, because I feel like a childhood, like she's still a kid, so I don't know.
It would have been my Game Boy Color. Mm-hmm.
Solid. Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
which made my parents, but like last year for Christmas, I asked for a Game Boy, like a OG Game Boy, so they got one on eBay and to
Yeah.
get Tetris with it. So now I have one again.
Yeah. What? I'm very jealous.
You can
Did they?
get them on eBay.
Okay, I was gonna say eBay.
Hmm.
Okay. I might
They're
have to
not too
do that for
expensive. I mean, they're
myself.
like $100 or something, hundred
Oh,
fifty
that's not bad
bucks.
at all. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can still get the card, like the
Mm-hmm.
game insert thingies.
Mm-hmm.
I might do that. A
Yep.
little birthday present for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So then, speaking of the smashing of the game, childhood game, do you think that like that is a whole symbolism thing of kind of destroying her childlike essence, like graduation of it all?
I think so. And I also thought it was very interesting that it was Kier that was inside of it. And so she's like smashing Kier with the James Egan's head.
Oh, inside like that game was a cure game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, I think, right? It looked like Kier at least. Like he's the guy that was in the swimming suit.
Yeah, I just was the guy facing down though, or was his? I feel like he was like,
Yeah, maybe he was facing down because he was diving. Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, that is interesting. But then also kind of confirms that her family is a part of Lumen and Kier if
Mm-hmm.
she has that kind of game.
Yeah.
So yes, Miss Huang smashes her game with the Egan head bust thing, and it's also sad. I felt for her. But then we go to the next scene, and it's Dylan and Gretchen in their home, and Gretchen finally confesses that she kissed any Dylan. Also, Gretchen is a cop, and I hate that for her and for us. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I thought she was a security guard, but yeah, maybe I didn't pay attention to like what it looked like.
She might have been a security. Well, we saw more of her costume outfit, and I saw on the side it was like 911.
Okay, yeah, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So she confesses that she kissed any Dylan, and I just wrote a bunch of questions for you, Chelsea.
Okay.
Do you
Hit
think
me.
she cheated? Like, white, black, cheat? Yes, no.
I kind of wrote the same thing. I was like, how do we feel about his reaction here? Because I do understand why he is upset. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think if I was him, at a minimum, it would feel like she hid something from me,
Yeah.
and that's the part that I don't like.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think that
agree.
that's like. But I understand why she did it, and I don't see what's wrong with it, because to
No, I'm
her,
shocked.
it's like that's Dylan.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
I don't know. For me, the innies and outies are still the same person. I
yeah.
know that they're separate, and I know that's not how other people watching the show view it and other people in the show view it. But to
Yeah.
me, they're the same person. And so, you know, it's, yeah, I don't think that I don't think she cheated. What about you?
I agree with you. And I at first I was like, he is overreacting. But then watching it a second time, she says, he reminds me of who you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that part kind of a violation, I feel like then. If you're saying they are different.
Yes, yes, because in her mind, she did view them different. Because when she spoke to Annie Dillon, sometimes she would get it confused, but she was like,
Yeah.
we later find out, I don't know, she refers to them very separately.
Yes.
And so, in that regard, yes, if she is viewing them as different people, then that
Yeah.
is more
That's it.
cheating.
Would you say, second question, would you say Dylan's innie and outie are more different than the other innie and outies we know? Like Irving's innie and outie, his we still don't know what that deal is, to be honest. I don't think they're as separate as we are being made to believe still.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mark's innie and outie, do you think they're similar?
Yeah, I think Mark's and Nowdy's are similar. I think he's less put together on the outside.
Yeah. But then he's
And
like encompassed by grief on the outside,
mhm.
so it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think kind of the same applies for Dylan. I think that what the reason that he's different on the outside is just because of his current life state.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Do you think
Okay.
so too?
Yeah, I think I guess I wanted to ask you that question because I was like, yeah, they are Dylan's Audi and Innie are pretty different, and the context of Audi Dylan, and I mean he's definitely had life deal some, you know, harsher cards to him, so of course he's more jaded and all that stuff as we can see. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't like Gretchen. Yeah, Gretchen. I don't know. Kind of, she could have left that part out of how he
Ye-
used to be.
Yes, especially in that scenario. I think that if it was she had told them and they were sitting down and talking about it again and she was explaining like what happened,
Yeah.
because then that's a conversation of like, okay, how can they improve their marriage? Like what is she looking for? Those kinds of things. But
Right.
in that moment, it wasn't helpful.
No, not at all. And then we see Addie Dillon, like he's hurt, he's angry, he's confused, and he walks out of that conversation, kind of ending it, threatening to quit, and and he says, "I'm going to end his existence." Does he say that,
Hmm.
or did I just write that down? I don't
No,
know.
I think
Either way.
I think he does. He did say that.
Yeah. Okay. So then after that scene, we go to Irving entering his home, and he realizes something's up. His dog is in like a, position of, he's not relaxed basically. There's someone in the house, and we find that it's Bert sitting in a chair and he has gone through Irving's things, and he's reading a note, a note written by Irving that Irving has written about Bert.
Mm-hmm.
And Irving basically wrote that he has uncovered that Lumen is using Bert as an enforcer or goon.
Mm-hmm.
And Bert reads this out loud to Irving, kind of a bit hurt, but I don't, Bert, I don't, okay, okay. My honest opinion about this Bert and Irving storyline, underwritten. I'm not liking it.
I agree. I'm hoping that more light is shined on the situation so it makes a little bit more
Mm,
sense. But at the end of this episode, I was like, I don't, I felt unfulfilled.
I agree. Confused. Like, yeah, okay. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So then Bert asks Irving to go on a drive with him.
I would
And
just wouldn't get in the car.
this is what I'm saying, because at this point, I'm like, is Bert evil or is he good? I'm still not understanding what he is, what side he's on. I don't know. Not thinking about the scene anymore because I hate it. We're back at the Lumen headquarters and we see the doctor. I forgot his name. I just wrote the doctor, the one who was
Uh,
creepy with Gemma during Gemma's episode. Do you know his name?
was it Mauer?
Oh, yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Mauer. And he's watching Gemma and then he sees that nothing's really happening. So then he clicks and he sees that Cold Harbor is stuck at 96. He calls Mr. Drummond saying the numbers aren't moving. Mr. Drummond then calls Mr. Milchick and says the final quota was promised today.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of takes us back to James Egan saying today was going to be a momentous day. Why can't I say that word?
Well, yeah, and I just don't understand what the significance of like that specific day is.
I was thinking it was like Cold Harbor was going to be completed that day.
No, yeah, I know that, but like, why
Okay.
does it have to be completed by that specific date?
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I don't know.
Because
Like,
if anybody works in any kind of office situation, there needs to be like a 2-week buffer on both sides, at
agreed.
least.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to account for anything to happen. Yeah, I agree with you. We are going to get to that. I have shit to say about this episode. I'm not happy. Anyways, we see we see Helly walk out the elevator looking for Mark and she sees that he hasn't come in yet or hasn't come in at all. Then the next scene we see Mark, he's in the car with Devin and they're driving to meet Miss Cobell. They have cute little sister brother banter back and forth. She's giving him shit. Mark is saying that it's meeting Miss Cobell is a bad idea, even letting her in on what has been going on with him is a bad idea. And Devin is all, I know that's not who I think it is. Like, saying what is and what is not a bad idea. You just drilled a hole into your head.
Yeah, I love the way that she said it. She's like, I think this is more or less what she says. She's like, couldn't hear you over the wind blowing over the hole in the back of your skull.
Yeah. Devin is my favorite character. I'm
Yeah.
landing there. Yeah.
She's like, dummy, you got your head drilled into. This is a way better idea. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And if not, it's like equally as batshit. You know what I mean? So you have no leg to stand on.
Yeah.
As they're driving, Mark gets a call from Mr. Milchick and Devin tells him not to answer it. Then we go to a scene. Helly's barging into Mr. Milchick's office asking where Mark is. And okay, in this moment, she says things in her dialogue where it's clear that only Helly would know things about the situation. I'm with you, Chelsea. I'm with you. But she's being very, very bold towards Mr. Milchick. And he kind of says, like, you're not my subordinate, or I'm your.
No, like that she is his subordinate. Like Helly is his subordinate.
Right.
Yeah.
And she kind of responds in this very like am I kind of situation. And in this moment I said, oh, that's not Helly, that's Helena. Did you
Yeah,
have the same thought?
yeah, because at the very least in this scene, what we're getting is Helly is realizing because on the outside she is Helena, the power that she can kind of use because
Yes,
of that. But the way that she was acting, I just was like, I don't know.
I
I
agree
just,
with you.
because, yeah. And I also, it did bring up the question of why they call her Helly R instead of Helly E.
Yes, because Mr. Milkshake says Helly E. No, Helly
Helly R.
R. Yeah, and then she was like, "Don't you mean Helly E?"
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It was giving Helena. It was there might be an integration thing happening between them. I don't know. I don't trust it.
I thought since everybody was talking about how they're so different and how you can tell them apart, I like as soon as she got out of that elevator, I was like, I don't know, something just feels up.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And watch us be wrong about this too. Like the one time we're like, no, this is where the switch happened. Probably not, but I don't
Again,
know.
at the very least, what we're seeing is Helly is learning that she can push the boundary even more because
Yeah.
of who her outie is.
Who she yeah. I
Yeah.
guess my only beef with that is she she doesn't want to be her outie, right? But I guess she's
Mm-hmm.
just using it to her advantage.
Yeah.
Because I always thought she didn't want to even be associated with Egan. So she doesn't even want to acknowledge it
Yes. Yeah.
being an Egan. But we'll see.
Yeah, because there's also, I was trying to see when this scene comes up, but there's a scene where Dylan and Helly are having conversation, and again, she says some stuff. So when we get there,
Yes.
I think there's
Yeah.
some more evidence.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so then after this scene, we are with Annie Dylan and Gretchen is telling Annie Dylan that she told Audie Dylan about the kiss. And she basically tells him that she can't keep doing this because she can't keep coming back. And that Audie Dylan threatened to quit and, you know, murder Annie Dylan. And in the midst of all this, Annie Dylan proposes. And I said, stand the fuck up.
I know, but he made a ring out of his
I
little finger traps that he
know.
loves so much. And like
I know.
he was so genuine and sincere. And it just like, it just broke my heart. It
Yeah,
broke
I
my heart so
know.
much.
But this is
But
where it was
yes,
always heading.
yeah, it's what like he was like, I can give you that life. No, you can't.
No, you
Like,
can't. Right. Unless you
so
want her to be stuck down there,
yeah.
which, no.
I mean, I guess he knows about the override or the overtime contingency. So maybe he's
Mm,
thinking that he could. I don't know. He's very desperate in the situation to get her to stay because
he is.
he
He's
loves
very
her.
different. Yeah. And that Gretchen, he like screams as she's walking out was so pathetic.
You did you see that tweet from Apple about like that they said all rewards come with a cost, and it was like a picture of the ring that he used to propose to her.
No, I didn't see
I was like
that.
I was like that is the most like hurtful mean thing that they could post. I was like, why? Don't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
mean.
That's funny. The Apple social media person has been having a blast with Severance
Hmm.
this season.
Yeah.
So then we go from pitiful Dylan to Dylan, a scene with Dylan and Helly. And Dylan is telling Helly about the proposal. Helly is kind of just like, that's not your wife. That's Audie Dylan's wife.
So and that's when she said that she was really emphasizing like that's not your wife. Because I know that she's kind of said that to Mark, but she said that to Mark when she was Helena, right?
Yes. And that was my inkling too. Yes. She says that when they're in the hallway and he was telling her about, yes.
Hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
the same common verbiage. So I was like, again, I don't know. This is sounding like Helena, but the only reason why I think, well, they're trying to make us think it's Helly, is that she says things only Helly would know. Like, I mean, we're talking the clue Irving left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did Helena know about that? No,
Well,
because Irving got fired at that OTB. What's that called?
the
Ortbo.
Ortbo.
Yeah, and he left that. That's when he tells them about it in the code way. Hang in there. That's when he says that.
That's not enough to convince me. Okay.
There's more. There certain things she said. I didn't write them all down, but there were certain things she said where I was like, but only Helly would know that. And that's
Yeah.
where I think she's either like spying on Helly, or there's like a different device we don't know about of being able to not split in between the two, but be the two. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something happening, and I'm not convinced they're split right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So Helly then talks about focusing on the clue Irving left, which, okay, this part I was like, why would Helena care?
Mm-hmm.
But again, and Dylan says that the only reason why there's a lot being said, but I'm just hitting the points that I thought mattered. Dylan says the only reason why they're down there is because of her, and she's like, no. And then Dylan says, if they're so different from the Audis, how come they couldn't tell? And she said,
That's what I've been
Irving could
saying.
tell, right? And Dylan said, well, Mark couldn't. And I said, oh, damn.
And I said, if Mark couldn't tell, how are we supposed to?
I am standing on this hill with you, Chelsea. You're not alone. I agree. We are not the dumb ones. Everyone else is.
Sure. Yep.
Then this conversation ends with Dylan walking away, saying, I guess he's still an asshole. Like, he hits her with that mic drop and just walks away. Then we get to the next scene of Miss Cobell finally arriving, meeting Mark and Devin. Wait, I'm gonna go back to that scene. It was heavy dialogue. Was there anything, and I skipped a few, was there anything you wanted to add that I might have missed, but you're like, I want to talk about this?
No, I mean, that more or less was everything. And because I think her really emphasizing that they're different just really reminded me of the dialogue with Helena so much. And
Yes.
if Mark couldn't tell that they were different, then you really are very similar.
Yeah. Again, agreed. So then we get next scene. Miss Cobell finally meets up with, Mark and Devin. Their greeting cracks me up. Mark
So
is fucking over it. Adam, God, I don't know. Okay, we'll talk about that maybe next episode. But Adam is doing magnificent things with his acting skills in the scene.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Devin is all like, after the greeting, she's getting straight to the point. Can you take us to the birthing center so we can talk to any Mark?
We have to, for a second though, say what Mark, because Miss Cobell asks Mark, she's like, how have you been doing? And he's like, oh my God, so good. My wife is a prisoner at Lumen and I just had brain surgery in my basement. And I was like, that's a great way to put it, because that's exactly what has happened.
Like, definitely what's happened. And Miss Cobell is just standing there like
She's a lady of few words and just does not care about an awkward silence.
no, she does not. And she kind of looks at people like they're the crazy person. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When she's
Yeah.
the crazy person.
Yeah.
That's what cracks me up about her. So yes, Devin asks if she could take them to the birthing center. And I guess this is when it finally does click for me about the birthing center, like being the elevator switch. I was like, oh, so what you're telling me is the women get driven there, they open the door, and when they enter it, the severance switch happens.
Mm-hmm.
I did not understand that, and I'm sorry for being late to the party, but did you understand that before
Well,
this?
Devin was thought that that might be what was going on. And
Yeah.
so in the first season, when she like kind of mentioned it, I was confused on. I knew she was hinting that they were severed. I didn't understand the mechanism in which, like,
Yes.
like they walk through the threshold kind of thing,
Yeah.
but somehow they were severed there. And then when they kept referring to the cabin, though, it was like, oh, it must just be like when you're inside the cabin, you're
Is
severed
when you're
somehow.
severed. Yeah.
I don't understand how that works, but
I agree. Again, underwritten, but we'll get to that. And Miss Cobell says yes, she'll take them, but it has to be at night. She's very like undercover. I feel like it would be more suspicious happening at night, but
that's what I
you
thought
know,
too.
yeah. Then Miss Cobell says that if she'll take them though if any mark hasn't completed. No, wait. Before this, doesn't Mark go on about if his wife has died, or is this
No,
after?
it's they do like the little greeting, and Devin does ask about like going to the cabin. They said it'll be at
Okay.
night. And then that's when she was like, if you haven't completed the file though, because if you've already done it, then like going's like useless, more or less.
Yes, because she says if the file being Cold Harbor, and if that's completed, then Gemma is already dead.
Yeah. So I
Mm.
was like, what is that? Like, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's kind of the first time that have been told that the completion of Cold Harbor is the death of Gemma.
agreed.
We knew that something was going to happen,
Yes.
that was not good for her, but I did not assume that it was death.
No, I did not assume it was death too, especially when we had her episode. What was it, episode 7? And she's talking to the doctor. Yeah, and she kind of is like, "What happens after this?" And even in his language, it didn't sound like it was death. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So when Miss Cobell says this, Mark obviously freaks out, and he's like, if she's dead, you know, and he kind of wants to also like back out of it now, like basically to like he's freaking out because if they have limited time, he doesn't want Miss Cobell kind of leading that time. He'll just figure out a way to get to Lumen and save Gemma by himself. And then Devin has to walk him off the ledge. And she does successfully. And Miss Cobell then tells Mark to call Mr. Milkshake to tell him he's unwell and won't be coming in today, because if Milkshake gets suspicious, then Mark really won't get into that building, won't be able to get into that building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think
Mm,
what Ms. Cobell is also trying to do is she's trying to test to see if the file's been completed, because I think if Mark had called Mr. Milchek and said he wasn't coming in based on his response, like again, if he was suspicious, then he would just lock him out. But he wants the file to be completed, so he's like, okay, you can have the day off, kind of thing. That's kind of what I
yeah.
felt like it was a little bit of a test, and that's when Ms. Cobell says that if Mr. Milchek smells any chicanery, he will walk him out of the building, and that's means the use of trickery to achieve a political, financial, or legal purpose.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought, what did I write? Chicanery. I think I wrote, when we get to it, I'll let you know. Yeah, I feel like I don't know what I wrote, but I'll let you know if I see it. There's a lot of notes. Then then yes, we go to a scene. Well, we go to back and forth scenes of Helly and Dylan, and we're seeing what they're up to within their storylines. And Helly is basically locating the note Irving left behind the hang in there Dylan poster, and she finds it. And then Dylan is walking down the hallway and kind of, mulling over his rejection and what to do next, and basically decides that he's going to quit. Then from these scenes, we go to Bert and Irving, and they're in a car. Bert's driving, Irving and his dog. And Bert says, Robert basically says that he didn't do any murders under Lumen, and he was just an accessory to possible murders under Lumen.
He just, I mean, if you don't ask questions, then you can't be guilty.
Yeah, which is funny because he found Lumen in the church, so it's like,
Yeah.
uh, okay. We then definitely get the confirmation that Dylan is resigning because he is filling out a resignation form. And as he's doing that, as he's about to walk out, Miss Wong apologizes, saying she should have facilitated better, which I thought was, I don't know, I don't know that I don't know why that dialogue was added or needed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just Miss Wong's way of trying to say goodbye because that's the last time they're ever going to see each other.
Yeah,
Did you see what were you going to say?
no, go ahead.
Did you see on like the form that he was filling out, it said like reasons for quitting, and it was like he checked every box. It was like dissatisfaction, bad management, all the I don't know, all these, like he just checked all of them. It was really funny.
That's funny. No, I did not see that, but I did write after the scene. Oh, sorry. Do you have more to say?
One more thought about it at the end, but you can go ahead and go.
Oh, I did write that after this, during the scene, and as he's walking out, I wrote, it was in this moment that I realized that everyone is incompetent at their job right now at Lumen. Like they all suck. No one's doing their job. No one is keeping an eye on somebody else doing their job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on down there?
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that I thought about in this scene, because, and we've talked about this, that, and I mean, we just talked about it, how I still think that the innies and outies, they're the same person. And so, when Bert retired, they were like, he's killing him, like, and then when they fired Irving, they had a funeral because they were killing him. And I didn't believe that because I was like, he's still alive,
Yeah.
like the body's still alive. So he's just not going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
But I did kind of view Dylan's quitting as him killing himself because he's making the choice to never come back.
Yeah.
And so that made it a little tricky because I'm like, well, if I think he's killing himself, then yeah,
if someone else, if the outie. So more, what you're saying is if an innie is making the decision of not coming back, that is more that's more acceptable, not more acceptable, that makes you view them as separate more. But if an outie's making that decision, you don't, you're just basically like,
yeah, because I guess
the outie still gets to keep their personality. Like the outie still gets to be the outie, right? And if they're killing the innie really does cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I know it's tricky. You definitely understand the Dylan making the choice to kill himself. I also am still very confused on how I feel about how the rest of it fits, especially with my viewpoint up to this point.
Yeah, I get you. I understand. Listen, Friday cannot come soon enough. I will tell you that much.
I liked the tweet that you had about like, oh, severance is going to be over soon. What are we going to do? And it was like the breaking free. It kind of does feel that way. I'm loving it, but it also is like, I feel tortured.
Tortured is the perfect word for it. Truly it is. Oh my gosh.
They're just like, let's watch them just suffer through this.
And that is what we have been doing. God. And I don't know if we weren't recapping it, if I would have stuck around this long. This is what else I want to talk about after.
Okay. We'll talk about it.
Or at least, we'll talk about it. Okay. Then the next scene is Mr. Drummond scolding and blaming Milchick for Mark not coming in, Dylan quitting, just everything going wrong when as I said before, is not Mr. Milchick. Everyone is incompetent of their job. Even Miss Huang being like, I should have facilitated better. It's like, what else? Like, that was your one job in those moments. So what else were you doing in that room watching? Everyone sucks. Anyways.
She is just a child, though, so I think maybe we can cut her a little bit of slack.
Yeah, right. I'm as bad as they are over at Lumen. Okay. So Drummond is scolding, blaming Milchick, and then Mr. Milchick just, what does he say? He's kind of just like, yeah, okay, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, but he says it in his
using big words.
His, normal vocabulary.
Yes, Kier-like vocabulary, I would say.
Yeah.
And Mr. Drummond obviously does not like that because he's warned him about that before at his performance review. So Mr. Drummond then demands an apology. Milkshake says, I apologize. Mr. Drummond says, shorter. Milkshake says, I'm sorry. And then Mr. Drummond says, again. And we see the beautiful Tremel Tillman act in this moment. And you can see him deciding which way to go. And then quickly he lands on which way to go. And he says, devour feculence, which means eat shit, Mr. Drummond.
That line, and I mean, his delivery of that line, I think alone should win him an Emmy. I
agree.
Let's create a category for like best line delivery.
Yes, that should be an Emmy category.
And then he wins.
100%. And this wasn't the only line in this season that he delivers so uniquely, so perfectly, so Mr. Milkchicky, that you're just like, thank you for making that decision, because that makes sense.
Yeah, the other one that definitely pops into mind is when he like confronts Mark in the elevator, and he's like, "Did you tell her that you fucked her outie at the Orpo?"
Yeah. Tremel, God, so good. So I think that Emmy is his. It's gonna be a hard category, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it going anywhere else.
I will get a trophy made for him and somehow get it to him and be like, you deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We should do that. We should 100% do that and fan mail it somehow to him.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will. So he delivers this excellent line, and Mr. Drummond is shocked, as he should be. And I don't know. I love it for Mr. Milkshake in this moment, and he continues to say more, and he's basically standing his ground and realizing his worth finally in the space of all that is Lumen. And he says that even though he is owed respect even by his superiors, and then also says that it's not his fault what Mark does when he's not at work. He's only to be blamed for what happens when he is at work, like on the severance floor. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, and he's like, actually, it's your job to keep up with what Mark's doing outside of here. So
yes,
you're actually the one that's doing a bad job.
Just saying. That's why you should devour feculence.
I really love that scene, and I think and especially with the next one too, we've talked about Milchick turning, and this was like one of those really big steps in that direction.
Yes.
I also think, because this was a topic that has also been kind of talked about, we've talked about it and it brought up in the show, is Mr. Drummond doesn't seem to have respect for anybody around him except maybe James, not even Helena, I mean Natalie. We never heard him say anything bad about her, but he's not very respectful towards her.
Yeah.
So, but with that said, obviously it is coming down, like not coming down to, but like race is playing into this as well. And this, like with his interaction with
100%
Mr. Milchick.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the scene, we've again seen it. We've seen Lumen's kind of approach to it or their feelings about it. And I just think that this
seen
this
as, yes, layered
because
in,
mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah, because
in
again, they
the,
don't.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they don't. Lumen doesn't have a lot of respect for their employees, but they're definitely not having respect for any of their minority employees by
Yeah,
any
I
means.
agree. I agree with you 100%. And that is why, yeah, Milkshake standing his ground really, yeah, I was like, yes, finally. And now the next step is to get the fuck out of there, but baby steps. But also, I did want to bring up that, well, not bring up, but I did want to just kind of have a conversation of have you had a moment in whatever workspace of like, I don't know. I feel like in this capitalist society, we are made to believe that we should be grateful for, the job we have, and we should, whatever. But it kind of places the employer above the employee. And I think there is a moment in everybody's employed life where they realize their worth within their workspace, and kind of just, yeah, realizing their worth and being like, I deserve better, or, I'm more needed or qualified or whatever than I'm feeling that they're acknowledging. So I gotta like stand my ground for them to acknowledge that or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I when I was watching the scene, I was like, oh, I've had that moment of being like, wait, hold on. I am worth a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than I'm even realizing. So I don't know. Have you had that moment before?
Yeah. Are you talking about a moment in which you realize it, or a moment that you realize it and have to vocalize it?
I think it's just uh, mm, do you realize it and then just keep it on, or doesn't
Well,
one come with the other?
because the example that I'm thinking of is
Yeah.
I where I used to work, my office was in the front. So when people came, they assumed that I was the secretary, or
Yeah.
that I was like, yeah, the secretary. That's what they assumed. And I
Yeah.
remember a specific, well, two, I'll say two, a specific instance. We had people come in. I came in for the conference room where everybody was meeting, started taking notes, and the guy looks at me and goes, "Oh, are you taking notes for the meeting?" And I'm like, "No, I'm the one that's going to be doing all the work for you." And thankfully, one of the
Yeah.
people with him corrected him. Was like, "No, she's like runs the lab, like
Yeah.
she's the one doing this." And another time, I had just a group of men slowly push me out of a group where people were talking. They just
Oh.
slowly like stood in front of me.
Oh God.
Yeah.
God.
But in
Yeah.
those
That's
instances, I
annoying.
never said anything because I was like, what, like, I knew my value, I knew my worth. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Whatever.
So somebody should call him out, but I didn't feel the need to
Yeah.
at that moment.
Yeah. I guess in those instances though, you're talking about like outside people coming in, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about
Yeah.
like inside within. But okay, so we both have acknowledged that we work for family businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And even, well, I guess my experience is like, even within my family business, the trick with the family business is like the employee part and then the familial relationship part, me being a daughter to, my parents. So I think they were kind of expecting more things out of me because I am the daughter than just the employer, right? And I think for me, I had to realize, well, there's a lot to it, but there was a moment where I was like, hold on, I don't just have this because I am their daughter. I'm actually good at this shit. I've learned a lot at this moment. I can be like, no, I can do that. Like, I can prioritize my time more independently without input from them, kind of situation. And I guess that was me realizing my worth.
Yes, 100%. And I think that I I tried to prove my worth to myself, but also because I wanted other people around me to realize, like, once I did have that recognition, like, no, I don't have this job just because of who I am, but because I'm smart
Yeah.
and I work hard and I
Yeah.
do deserve it. And because though you want to prove yourself, or because I want to prove myself, I just kept on taking I just kept taking
Yes.
on more and more because it's a
Yes.
family run company. Like that's what happens. And
Yeah.
then your worth is so high in the
Yes.
company, and
Yeah.
you know it, and
Yeah.
it's not like a pride thing, or like you're not going around and using it to be mean to people, but it's a
Yeah.
very powerful thing once you finally are like, I
Realize it.
know. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I didn't realize it. Well, maybe I realized it maybe early 20, 23, something around there. And it was such a powerful realization and such a freeing realization too, because then I wasn't, and we'll see in this next scene with Milchik, like I wasn't making the work my my home life, my all of it. It finally became separate,
Mm-hmm.
which I think then going into this next week with Mr. Milkshake, he gets the call from Mark, and Mark is like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to take a sick day." Mr. Milkshake's like, "Okay, where are you? We can come get you and take you to better doctors or whatever." And then Mark's like, realizing, "Oh shit, I've got to come up with a better lie." And instead of lying, he just says, "I just needed a mental health day. Like I just needed a day." And we see Mr. Milkshake really like sit with this because he just can't. From what we've seen, the previous scene was the scene with Mr. Drummond and him standing up for himself. And then we go into this next scene with Mark kind of just like saying, Lumen has said that they want us to better balance the work and home life. And I'm saying I need more, or I need like rest right now. And yeah, Miss Milkshake's just like, oh shit, and has his own realization. And I think that also helps him go easy on Mark and lets Mark get away with it and says, all right, as long as you promise to come in tomorrow. And Mark's like, okay, I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that.
I think that I think that's kind of the last thing we see in this episode where Mr. Milchek's like, oh yeah, like that, because Mark says work is work, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the whole thing. And like, I mean, we were just talking about it, and
Yeah.
I think we see that. Another thing, because when you're talking about the scene back, it makes me think. So Mark goes in kind of just to say a white lie,
Yeah.
because he's like, it'll just be easier because it'll answer his questions and he won't ask more.
Yeah.
But then he realizes like that's not. And not that I not that I would make like white lie, but like you make excuses like, oh, I can't do this because I've had, I don't know, you just make up an excuse for why you can't do stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kind of started taking Mark's second approach though. Like if people ask me to do something, I don't give an excuse. I just say, oh, not tonight. And I do try to follow up and like
Yeah.
schedule a different day that works, that I
Yeah.
would rather do it. But instead of just, you don't owe people an excuse,
Yeah. I agree. And I
even
think
your
that's,
employer.
yes, exactly. Like, and I think that's what millennials started paving the way, but I think Gen Z's get a lot of shit, but also credit for having that balance of like, or even not explaining why they might need a mental health day and just be like, hey, I don't have this right now, but you know, I can in a later date or whatever. And I think that's important. I don't know. Some people
Yeah.
say that we are the weaker generation, but I don't care.
I I remember one time I was talking to my dad about a mental health day, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I managed the lab, and so one of our lab employees was not going to be in, and he was like, "Why?" And he was using a sick day, and I was like, "I don't know, I didn't ask." Like a day
Yeah.
off is a day off, and if he wants to use a sick day and run out of time off, like that's on him. If he wants to
Yeah.
use it as a mental health day, and my dad's like, a mental health day, and I'm like, you are a person that probably could benefit from about 20 mental health days.
Yeah.
So
100%. Oh, yes, they could, especially business owners. Like, with
yeah,
that, yeah, they absolutely could.
and
But
I'm
it
just
is
like,
beyond their like imagination or scope or
taking a day off is like, that is not selfish. That's not being a bad employee. That is,
Yeah,
if you are feeling healthy and happy at your job and outside of work, that's just going to make you a better employee.
exactly. Yeah, the
Do
output's
people
going to be
take,
better.
yeah, do people take advantage of it? Yes, some people do. But
Yes.
those people can't ruin it for everybody else.
No,
You just can't let them.
no,
They'll get fired
no.
eventually.
Exactly. The people who do take advantage of it aren't the people holding that company together. Does that make sense? It's
No.
like, yeah, they are replaceable. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. God, the stories we could tell.
We'll probably
Being
tell
in
them
the
all eventually or
yeah.
slowly.
So yes, then we go from the conversation Mark has on the phone with Milchick and to where are we?
Bert and Irving are at the train station like they're in
Yes.
1890.
Honestly, the whole even the way the scene look like everything within it is very I'm like, where are we? What is
Yeah.
happening?
I mean, I guess we don't really know where this is taking place, but hypothetically in my mind I vision it's up north because I know this is where they filmed it, I guess. And I know up
Yeah.
north they do have more of a train system, where you
Yeah.
can travel between states relatively easily. But
Yeah.
still, but still.
But still. Also, I feel like inside the carriage looked more modern than
Mm-hmm.
outside at the whole
Yeah.
situation. So that also can be I might. We'll get to it. Okay. Yes, we're at the railroad train station. Bert is seeing Irving off. Uh they have honestly, I'm gonna be very honest with everybody. I checked out of this scene. I watched it. I have it written down, but I am failing to understand the significance of this storyline.
Exactly. And I think there's this, at some point I have another question that this storyline does tell us something. And anyway, also I question, to me, I don't think Bert really cared about Irving, not the way that Irving cared about Bert.
I
Not Audi Bert, at least.
so you're saying say that again.
So I think that Bert, I'll just say Bert in general, but Audi Bert for sure, does not care about Irving the way that Irving cares about Bert. Because, like, in this situation, Irving's like, I want this, like, I want to stay. And, Bert's like, no, we can't. I don't know. I didn't feel the reciprocal feeling in that
I
moment.
agree with that. But then I also chalked up to, which was terrible, but I was like, is this just bad acting? Like, is the chemistry read here off?
But they were so good together in the first season.
I agree. So I'm like, what happened? Is somebody faking
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I think Audi Bert
is
just
faking the
doesn't.
situation? Okay, I think
Yes.
Irving is faking the situation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And
So you think they're both faking it?
well, I don't know what Burt's deal is still, so I can't speak for him or about him. But Irving, okay, we can. Well, there's a scene that happens before the scene, but we're just gonna go straight to the scene. Irving. So Bert, yeah, they're saying bye, and Irving is like, "I want us to basically run away and live together. Like, let's leave, whatever." And Bert's like, "No, we can't." Bert sticks his ground. Irving leaves. He gets on the train, and on the train, we see Irving is kind of like
Smiling.
smiling and at peace, and maybe not at peace, but smiling in a way that, for me, is like there's a trick up his sleeve that we don't know,
Yeah, I agree. I
and
agree.
that's why I think it's Irving that's not being genuine in that interaction we had before the goodbye interaction.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. I
Yeah,
can see what you're saying.
because what if he was? Because he technically just got rejected. Like when we saw Dylan get rejected, he went off to kill himself.
Maybe that's what Irving's gonna do too, and that's why he's so happy. Okay, that's really dark. They're definitely at the very, like, something is off in this, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know
something's
yet.
up with
And then
both of them to some extent.
yes, I agree. And we still don't know who Irving was fucking talking to in that telephone booth. So
Just the other couple episodes ago, or last episode, you're like, they've answered so many questions, and I said, have they? Have they? And I'm saying that again. Have they?
no questions have been answered. This whole this from the first episode till now, we could have skipped the in between and just went from the first episode now, and we would have been left with the same questions we have.
We've learned nothing.
Yeah.
Truly, like these are all things we kind of knew leading into the season. Have they given us a little bit more information? Sure, but also we can't believe anything's true because they've proven that what we did know isn't true.
It's not fucking true. Yeah, they keep. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. We're almost there. Okay. Okay, so from the railway scene, we go to Dylan, and he's standing in front of the elevator, about to not contemplating, but he's like taking in that this is gonna be his final moment down there. He's about to step in and kill himself and go up and be outie Dylan forever. And then we see Miss Huang waiting for the shuttle.
She looked so. It just really emphasized like how much of a child she was.
Yes, and yes, this scene, her acting, even in that scene with Miss Milchek and the head busting of the head of the game thing, this episode really emphasized that she is a kid. Definitely.
Which, again, we don't really know her age. I assumed it was like 12 to 14, honestly, right?
Yes, I agree.
Do you know how old the actress is?
I'm looking it up right now, actually. So her name's Sarah Bach.
She's in college.
Stop. That's so crazy. That was a very bad stop. But what?
I think that it's, the way that they dress her for sure. And I think she does it. She plays it so well in her face too. Like her eyes are so
childlike.
Yeah. And it's the way she reacts that is childlike.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we usually save this for our Friday episodes, but do you think she'll get a nomination?
I don't know if it'll be for this, but I could see her getting a nomination for something else.
Okay. Like a different role she might get in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got ya.
Maybe this role. I'm not saying no. I just not sure.
Yeah. She has played a significant part this season.
And she's done a great job
every episode. Yeah, she has. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. I don't know if it's all the way there. But this scene was really great. Or in this episode was really great. Mm-hmm. She gets into the shuttle that'll take her off to Empathy Sleepaway Camp. And then we go back to Dylan. He gets in the elevator. I wrote, is he dead? ? Probably not. Do you think he's dead?
Well, did you see when he's sitting waiting for the elevator, there's that new mural that was behind him, and his head was placed exactly where the first head is. But do you remember what that painting was called? Was it called The Pardoning? Like Kier's Pardoning?
Oh, I think so.
But then the heads are all bloody and he's holding a knife, and there's definitely some symbolism there,
but I don't like the person is holding the knife to chop off their heads, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like at least it's next to them and it has blood on it, and the heads have blood on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was a very good visual at the very least. I don't know what it meant, but
I agree. And I think it was purposeful in how it was placed and everything. Mm-hmm. Now, does it mean he's dead? I don't know. Is he pardoned? I don't know. Who knows?
So with this scene, did you have anything because that was kind of it, right? They're just flashing back and forth with Dylan and Miss Wong, and this is where we see Irving on the train too. Yes. So we in this scene, we are seeing Miss Wong, Irving, and Dylan leave. Why are they leaving? that doesn't make any sense. Are they going to come back? Are we going to see them again? Is this like, I don't understand.
I
I
don't know why
don't
they're leaving.
understand. I can
I
understand
don't know.
Dylan leaving. I can understand them writing one of these characters leaving. But having it all in this one scene where you have these three very important characters
Yeah.
leaving,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Is it to get the sort of reaction out of the audience that we're having, to cause us despair of like, what the fuck, what is like, how does this carry on any storyline that we were left with?
If their whole goal is to torture us, then yes. Yes, 100%.
This has been their whole goal for season. I'm telling you, if that season finale is not, oh my god. Oh my god.
We even said that like on episode 3 or 4. We're like, we don't know how we're going to feel because we're questioning where the season's going. And we were right to question it.
Yeah, we were. We definitely were. We said we're getting on the ride. We strapped in. We'll let you lead us. But I am at the point where I'm like, it is dark. I'm seeing like dead bodies. I am scared for my life. Get me off this ride. What the fuck is happening? Like, the warning signs are here, and I'm somehow still on the ship. But okay. Okay. But yes, okay.
The next scene too is even worse, actually, now that I'm like looking at it. It's very short, but I hated it.
Wait, what is it? The elevator ding? No, there was something before this.
Yeah, well, I just have it where it shows the frame of the export hall, all dark.
Yes.
It shows Mark getting into the back of the truck.
Yes.
And then another visual of the export hall and the elevator dings.
See, I didn't even write none of that down.
Why did they cap the scene of Mark getting into the... Why are we looking at the export? What's going on?
Listen, I don't want to say it, but I will say it eventually. But we are getting into very end season Game of Thrones territory.
Mm-hmm. They need to be real careful.
Yes, because we're not to be played with. We know what is good storytelling on television and what is not. And I don't know. I don't know what I've been watching. Okay. So then after that whole scene back and forth, export hall, Mark, export hall, we then get a ding of the elevator, and it looks like the elevator of the export hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we see where it's Helly. Mm-hmm. She's in the, what's it called? What's the department called?
MDR.
They don't
data refinement. Yeah.
They don't do work anymore, so I don't know what the fuck that place is called. MDR. She's going over the directions Irving left on his note about where the export hall elevator is, and as she's memorizing the directions, we see a silhouette behind her. I immediately knew it was Jaime Egan. Did you?
I don't remember what I was thinking in that moment. I think I was just like, what are we doing? Well, because I also was trying to figure out why she was memorizing the directions, because why didn't she just take the note with her? It's not like she was getting in an elevator to get there, because I know the elevators will get, they can't take notes and stuff in there.
Scan. Yeah.
But she's just walking like, I didn't understand.
I don't know. We're saying I don't understand a lot, and that is not a good sign. Not because we're dumb, but because the show is dumb. We might be a little dumb. Yeah. So the silhouette is Jaime Egan, we see, and the first thing he says is, "You tricked me, my Helly."
Yeah, he calls her Helly.
Yes.
And how does she trick him? Is it because she's mixed the two? And he's like, oh, you're not following the rules. You're not doing what you're supposed to.
As in, that's Helena, really?
Or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand how she's tricked him.
I don't know. Okay. This makes no sense, but I'm grasping for sense, for
Throw it.
straws. When he said you tricked me, I go, oh, that's Helena. Because who else would have tricked him? Not Helly. Helly doesn't go up.
But
Helly stays down. Helena can come down.
Yeah, but he calls her Helly. Is that why he calls her Helly?
But that's what he said, my Helly. He remember the first time we saw Jamie Egan after the time contingency, and what did he like insults?
He calls her a fetid moppet or something like that.
Yeah. And I feel like that was aimed towards Helly. The real, I don't think that was Helena. That was like towards the innie, right? My Helly, that seems like Helena to me.
I don't, that's not far off, okay? Let's think about the show and the context of the show. That's not unreasonable, just like it's not unreasonable that it could be aliens, okay?
Okay. I do not second the aliens theory, but
I know. It's all my theory. It's all my theory.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stand on that island alone on this one. But my Helly just seemed like Helena. And also he does not like the Audis. He doesn't respect them as people. He would not be talking to an Audi in this way.
Or even going down there.
Exactly. And we do know, because that's what Helena proposed, that she wanted to just still go down there. I mean, it happened. Still go down there as Helena. So yeah, I really think that's Helena.
Well, yeah,
her response was weird. Threw me off.
Maybe. Unless they're the same person. So you remember in the very first episode of the season, like right at the very beginning, when Mark gets to wellness and there's a man standing behind him and we don't know who it is?
Oh,
do you think it was him?
Oh God, I got chills. I got real fucking chills. Oh, that would have been so creepy. I gotta go back and watch that now and see.
I'm just wondering, just because it's a very similar shot, very fuzzy, very I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, I wonder if that was him.
That could be him. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If they don't fucking tell us in the next episode, the final episode, who the fuck that silhouette was, I will definitely come into the next recording, the final recording of the season, with having watched that scene and letting everybody know who I think it was, with more context.
Yeah.
Because we'll see. It was either him or Mr. Drummond, but I don't think it was Mr. Drummond.
He didn't look fat enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, not to body shame anybody, but Mr. Drummond is a larger man.
And he's an asshole, so.
Yeah, that's also true.
Then we finally get to Cobell smuggling in Mark by pretending Devin is one of James Egan's pregnant ladies.
Well, she just says she's one of James. But we don't know his what. Like, obviously,
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
And what do the theory online say?
That he is impregnating, right? Like, these are...
Like, he has multiple wives and he's impregnating them.
Yes.
Which we've already talked about this. I can't. No more polygamy. But also, we've talked about, none of these characters are very sexual, and that man is the least sexual out of all of them. So I can't imagine him having sex. Maybe IVF. I could see, down on the testing floor.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
How I view it.
I don't think it's a polygamy thing. I think they're just using these women as vessels.
Yes, that's how I view it as well. Definitely.
Because I don't think they're sharing vessels for them to be his vessel.
No, and I don't think he respects women, period, point blank. Or even like wants to, not, I know.
He doesn't even like his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So being the company of one in that, I can't see it, and I would not like to ever see it. So there's Miss Cobell has dialogue with the security guard here, which I mean, things are being said that reveal a few things about Kier. She
What
says,
is
I didn't write them down because
okay? I did.
okay,
She says, because I was like, none of this makes sense.
exactly. That's why I didn't write it down.
She says, Miss Martha White, ninth floor. Obviously, that's a person, and it's a floor. Where? I don't know. And I don't know who the person is. And then the guard responds with specialties department. Never heard of that department. And then Miss Cobell says that she is looking for a gold thimble.
That one. That has to be something Kier related.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what any of it means.
Exactly.
But I wrote them down in case it makes sense at some point.
I'm not hopeful because why the fuck do Lumen employees not know that she does not work at Lumen anymore?
I guess they didn't send out a company-wide
memo,
email.
And it's been like 3 weeks now or 2 weeks, at the very least over a week.
Yeah.
Again, the writing, the storytelling. Oh, I don't like it. It's not making sense. It's getting silly.
I'm trying to remember how I felt watching the first season and if I really questioned it and it like I finally accepted it, or if this season really is just making me feel a certain way.
No, I'm telling you, the first season made sense.
Oh, it definitely made way more sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This season, I don't know. Maybe they bit off more they could chew by being too weird. Okay, let's finish this off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's only one more little scene.
Yes. Basically, they get in to the cabin. I'm wrapping this up, guys. It's not worth it anymore. Any Mark comes to. Devin is, making like ever so gentle with his awakening, being like, hey, you're safe. It's me. I did see this thing online. Someone tweeted. I really did like it. How to any Mark, Devin is like big sister, and to outie Mark, Devin is little sister. And I really liked that. And I saw that. I mean, this is the scene that shows that. And Devin is basically like, we want to talk to you or whatever, and leads him upstairs. And she leads Miss Cobell's waiting in the fucking so sorry.
Why did they make her look like that? I mean, she's already looks crazy.
I know. I have to post what I tweeted on the IG story of this podcast story, because that is what it looked like to me. She's just standing there. Chelsea wrote, standing there like looking like she has no chill, and that is exactly what she's standing there looking like.
Which also wasn't the photo you referenced, isn't it from that like Leprechauns movie? Isn't it like a leprechaun that's like backlit by fire?
Yes, and that's exactly what they've got Patricia Arquette standing there looking like.
Yeah. I did like the episode, and I liked seeing the characters back together. I like that we're coming together where at least this season will wrap up a little bit in a familiar feeling, maybe.
Yeah. Sorry.
But otherwise,
if I don't laugh, I'll cry.
I'm not happy.
No. Oh, sorry. And the last line is Devin saying, do you remember the last thing you said to me? She says this to Mark, and then Mark says she's alive, which is the final thing we hear at the end of the first season. So basically, leading up to the final episode of season 2, we are truly back where we left off in season 1.
And literally, have learned nothing. Not a single thing.
Yeah.
And
We've just
if somebody
gotten
wants to fight me on
context,
this,
but
then I will be like, no, because we don't know if it's actually true.
yeah. And guys, I tried fighting her on it. I tried saying we did learn a few things.
You were so positive about it just a couple episodes ago.
I was. And they went and did this shit. I can't defend this shit any longer. I cannot. They've lost. I don't want to speak too soon because
I
we
know,
only got one episode, but
because it really could. I'm wondering if it's so hard because we're like in the middle of it and we just don't know where it's going, and we know there's going to be season 3.
yeah.
And if it's one of those things that at the end, like when the whole series is over, we're like, that was an amazing series, like the way that we got there, and if just the pacing is throwing us off and maybe it's not great pacing for seasons.
Yeah.
So there is potential. There is potential for this to still be good. They haven't pissed it all away yet, but they're not headed in a very good direction.
Agreed. And I think for me, what pisses me off in general though, like, is that we had a 2.5 year break.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like they had time to really make sure season 2 was solid, to really make sure the what's that word?
Continuity.
Yes, was there. Like, there really should be no room for people pointing out, well, that doesn't make sense, or or what do they mean by this, or they I don't know. And if pacing is the issue, I don't like the pacing of season 2 then. I think it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve that judgment until the last episode, but as of right now, the first couple episodes were so good. I was like, okay, we're on it. And then we just took a hard left turn and they kind of lost me at that point.
I agree.
I flew off the roller coaster.
Yeah. Well, they flung us off, to be honest, with like hard turns. It was very like a lot of hard turns.
Do you want to make any predictions for the last episode?
I predict. I don't know. I predict my head will hurt less. Do I though? I don't know. I don't know.
You'll at least have a sense of relief.
Will I?
Because you don't have to watch another episode and question what's going on. You'll feel free, like you said. Like you'll feel free.
I will freaking feel free from this shit. I will. I agree. I don't have any predictions. If we went back and listened to what we predicted from the first episode to now, like as we've gone along, we are nowhere near. They haven't even met. The Audis haven't even met. We thought that would have happened 3 episodes ago. I don't know. What about you? I don't know.
I obviously Mark and Cobell and Devin are going to team up together even more. I think
stupid ass storyline. Sorry.
I think Mr. Milchek will be involved helping them to some extent. Whether it's turning a blind eye to something.
Yeah.
I think maybe to that level, not necessarily like, here's information you need. It's he knows what they're doing and he's just like, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. If this episode is any indication of where, his feelings are towards Luma now, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So that's...
Do you think Helly is going to save Gemma?
If we were going based off of the intro, which we talked about last time, then yes, because that intro has told us so much already, and that is kind of the one thing that we haven't seen is Helena in the exports hall, and then going down to the testing floor.
Yeah,
and
it's just I get I oh, I want to be like, okay, but what does Helena benefit from saving Gemma? They're going after the same man.
Unless maybe she's just tired of her dad's shit and she was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna just do whatever I want.
Yeah, maybe. And then also, do you remember what she called Gemma when she was in that diner with Mark?
Hannah, something like that.
Hannah, something like that. Yeah. What was the purpose of that? Was it literally just to pretend like she didn't know? It was what
I
like
I don't
there
know.
was just yeah, just little things like that just made me think, "Ow, you had 2 years to get this perfect, and a lot of it was unnecessary."
So far. Okay, let's give them. We got one episode for them to. We got hour and 15 minutes for them to really just tie it together. Mhm.
So okay.
Did you happen to watch the Twilight Zone episode that this
No,
was named after? I didn't either.
no.
I'm gonna do it probably today or tomorrow because
Okay,
I'm thinking I might get some clues from it, but I shouldn't have to watch another TV show to understand this TV show.
exactly. Literally,
And
like this TV show's enough homework as it is.
yeah, and like I don't know Greek mythology, so I feel like I'm missing a third of the references. I don't.
Yeah.
The only thing apparently that I know
Uh,
is creepy religious cults, so I'm picking up on that vibe.
Me too. I'm like, shit, I'm way more up to like religious shit than I realized. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not throwing in the towel yet, but I'm with you. I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. I think what upsets me, not even think, because I'm whatever, but what upsets me is this show, and I kept saying it, like it's a smart show that respects its audience to know, like it respects the audience's smarts as well. So it's like we would get it. Like they respect us to know we get it. Kind of, I mean, for me, similarly, Succession, if you've watched Barry, like those kind of shows. But I feel like it's leaned to a way where they think they're smarter than they are. Like the show thinks it's way smarter than it is, where it's just left its audience
Mm-hmm.
in the dust, you know?
I feel left in the dust. I know I am not the smartest person in the whole entire world.
No, neither.
I also know that I'm not the dumbest, and I think I'm too
I agree.
confused. I'm way more confused than I should be at this point.
I agree. Is this what watching the Big Bang Theory is
Uh, maybe.
like?
Yeah.
You know, they say big words on that show.
Do that.
That's what they advertise. Like, you know, he's like a really smart genius and,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
unrelatable. Anyways, okay, my only prediction is that I think we'll find out who Bert is talking to on that phone.
You think that's what we're gonna find out?
If they don't give me that, I quit. I am what? That's the
Okay.
least I deserve.
I'm gonna take note. So you need to know who that man was and then
Yes.
who Irving was talking to
Wait, who the man was? Oh, in the back with Mark.
in the very first. Yeah.
Yeah. I would even put that second to who Irving was. I need to know who Irving was talking to.
Okay.
I think that's
We'll
very important. I think
it's all important. I don't understand. We need questions or answers.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you what's like one or two things that you need direct answers to.
Is it Helly or Helena right now?
That's not a good one. That's not a good one. That's not a good one because it's both at this point. Like as the season
Okay.
has
Yeah.
progressed, right? I think they differentiated Helly and Helena. Helena had the hair up, Helly hair down. Now, I mean, we saw from this beginning scene, Helena's hair is down. They are one.
Mm-hmm.
The confusion is it's meant to be there because I think there's no differentiating the two.
All right. Well, then I want to know. I don't know because I want to see all the characters back together.
Okay.
Because
So
what's the
what you're
point of
hoping for.
having Irving and Dylan if they're just going to leave and not be helpful in the last episode?
I agree.
I know they
I agree
helped to
with you.
get there, but not really.
Yeah, I agree with especially Dylan.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know what
Irving,
they did with his storyline.
yeah. I mean, Irving did because he helped with the map and stuff,
Right.
but they haven't even used it. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Dylan just went like a whole different storyline. And is he
mhm.
really dead? Like, did the actor have another like what is up? Yeah, I don't know. So okay, so you're predicting, hoping that we get to see all of the MDR crew back together.
I'm demanding that I need to, like, Irving and Dylan, maybe Miss Wong is gone for the rest of the season. I can tolerate that. But if we do not see Dylan and Irving in this last episode, I
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't understand
Okay, so
what.
even if they're separate, you just need to see them.
I'll take it if they're separate.
Wow, we are asking for crumbs. I want everyone to know. Like,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
so bad out here. Oh wow. Okay. I don't think Dylan is dead. I don't think everything's gone forever either. So I think
I
we'll
don't
see him.
either, but I just find it so bizarre the way that they showed all of them leaving.
Yeah. Did you see someone's tweet about how it started off as Helly wanting to leave the server floor, and now she's the only one left in there, and everyone else has left?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't know, I saw that and I said, huh, okay, I think that's something that they wanted to leave us with before the finale,
Mm-hmm.
because she is the only one down there.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That could explain them leaving. But I feel like even if they didn't have to send the characters away to achieve that,
Yeah, I agree.
they could have done it with just, I don't know, ignoring them like they have been for the past 3 episodes. I don't know. Could have just done that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God, I can't wait to get our minds back and sanities back after fucking well, a week from now, let's say, because we still got to
Mm-hmm.
record our response to whatever the fuck's about to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's been a fun ride.
It's been a ride. Yeah.
I won't say our full goodbyes right now, but we will say bye for now.
Yeah.
And we will
Until next week.
see, yeah, next week. Hopefully we're a little bit happier and we don't have a lot of shit to talk about the writers and the storytellers of this season.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to know if any of our other listeners feel the same way. I can't imagine that we're the only ones.
I agree. If you know us personally, and most of you do, let
all
us
of them
know. Right. Let us know. Text us. Let us know if you feel like you are understanding this season the way it's meant to be understood, whatever the fuck that means. Let us know if you are as lost as we are, or as underfulfilled. Is that the word? Or not fulfilled?
Unfulfilled. Yeah.
Yes. As we are, let us know. I would like to know that we're not alone in this.
One more quick thing, because
Yeah.
it just made me think of this. Was there ever, I'm going to say, let me know if you've ever experienced this. This is making me feel like I took inorganic chemistry, and that class, at no point did it make sense to me. At no point did I understand what was happening. And I would sit there and I smiled and I was taking notes and I would look around and everybody was doing the same thing. And I'm like, are they understanding what's going on? Am I the only one that's lost? And then come to find out there's only like 2 people in the class that actually did understand what was going on. And everybody else was very confused.
Yes. Yeah. I'm hoping that's what this is. It has to be.
I think so too.
Yeah. All right.
We'll find out next week.
We will see you guys or talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Are you watching?